Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister and scores of mourners attend the funeral service of the late Senior Counsel Dana Sitahal as her final rites are observed. In excess of 18,000 students write the secondary entrance assessment examination as the Education Minister procures the 5th batch of laptops for secondary school students. And in Tobago, a commitment given by the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development to Tobagonians in gaining the island's perspective on the country's development goals. Thank you for joining us. Hundreds packed the Aramalaya Presbyterian Church, Tunapuna, to bid farewell to former Senator and Senior Counsel Dana Sitahal. Prime Minister Kamlo Persad Bissessa, along with President His Excellency Anthony Carmona, joined in with members in the legal fraternity and her family to say goodbye and pay their final respect to the slain lawyer. Chief Justice Ivor Archie, to Supreme Court Judge Justice Vashis Kokaram, and former Chairman of the Caribbean Court of Justice Michael de la Bastide, along with cabinet members, packed the church in which she grew up attending. Opening the service with a prayer, Father Clive Harvey reminded the congregation not to be blinded by the negativity that surrounds her passing, but celebrate and remember her life.
That in the midst of all the negativity that has clouded our land, our memory of her and our thanksgiving for her will help us to know right now that there are people in our country of beauty, of truth, of love.
In other news, Education Minister Dr. The Honorable Tim Gopi Singh says government will commence the procurement process in acquiring the 5th series of laptops. He made the announcement during the weekly post-cabinet media briefing.
It's secondary entrance assessment day here in Trinidad and Tobago. And while over 18,000 students have sat the exam, Education Minister Dr. Tim Gopi Singh says his ministry is moving to ensure the 5th series of laptops be distributed come September when they enter secondary school. The minister was speaking at this week's post-cabinet media briefing.
Cabinet has agreed to the procurement of the 5th series of laptops and accessories to students entering Form 1 in the academic year 2014-2015, that is next academic year, and the provision of laptops for secondary school teachers. Another set of secondary school teachers will be provided with laptops. For students entering Form 1 next academic year, 18,400 laptops and backpacks will be procured, and 1,500 laptops and backpacks will be acquired for secondary school teachers.
It's expected that over $10 million will be spent in retaining IT support, as well as new batteries for computers purchased in previous years. The minister assured that a proper procurement process will be completed before the laptops are acquired.
The Ministry of Education will engage the Central Tenders Board, as we have been engaging, for the procurement of laptops, backpacks, and the additional batteries. So the Central Tenders Board will be doing the procurement as had been done previously. It is important to note, members of the media, the provision of laptops to students entering Form 1 in academic year 2014 to 2015 continues to be part of the Ministry of Education's eConnect and Learn program, that's ECAL, some of which is copied by, because of the substantial amount of work we have done and the program we have set as an example, some of it is being done by the other Caribbean islands as well.
The minister gave an account of how many students and teaching staff have been beneficiaries of the laptop distribution program.
We have, that since the start of the ECAL program, we have given out approximately 68,850 laptops to students and who have benefited from the program, 68,850. Let me also inform you that we have provided laptops to every principal of the 476 primary schools and 134 secondary schools, and the 61 school supervisors We have provided close to 4,000 laptops for secondary school teachers already, and this 1,500 will add to the teachers in Form 4 and Form 5.
He adds that the ministry will be looking into a pilot program that studies the effectiveness of smart classrooms.
Cabinet is now considering the issue of smart classrooms. We want to establish smart classrooms, and we want to establish a pilot program in 20 schools to have the smart classrooms. And we're also looking towards having these interactive whiteboards with projectors for at least 100 schools to start with. So the interactive whiteboards will, this part of the program.
The ministry will also engage in a Latin American conference on utilizing information technology in teaching practices during the 18th to 19th of May. Kimberam Calawan, News 4.
News 4 continues right after the break. Stay with us. A commitment has been given by the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development to Tobagonians in gaining the island's perspective on the country's development goals. This commitment comes from Permanent Secretary for the Ministry, Ms. Arlene McCormy, who was on the island recently for the Small Island Developing States consultation on the post-2015 development agenda.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, Arlene McCormy, represented Minister Botewari at the local leg of the Small Island Developing States consultation held in Tobago recently. She explained that the theme, "The Tobago We Want," was carefully selected to reflect the kind of environment the residents intend to provide for generations to come.
Now is your time to speak with clarity and decisiveness about your future, contributing to the wider national debate on many salient issues. So don't lose the opportunity.
The consultation saw a number of groups participating, ranging from community organizations to business owners. Here are some of the participants and their views on the activity.
I think that the program has been excellent, especially the discussion part of it. I think for the first time I've seen a conference like this with such a large emphasis on discussion, on feedback, and I'm really, pleased about that.
I think things are going quite well thus far because we have had a meaningful discussion. Our topic that we have to discuss is diversification, development, and employment. And I think things are going quite great so far because we have a lot of ideas, a lot of challenges with that topic, and we have to zero in on our findings and give recommendations and so on. It is quite interesting, very, very interesting. I'm not bored at all.
My name is Sharon Benjamin, originally from the beautiful fishing village of Charlottesville. I'm the founder and the coordinator of the Charlottesville Senior Citizen Group, and I'm a restaurant owner, so I deal with food all the time. Today I find it's very productive. I'm so happy I came and made the effort to actually be here. I love it. I love talking about food and I love meeting people.
It's a little touchy. People are getting a little bit passionate because when you start talking about governance, you're talking about politics, you start talking about the different views in society. So I think the discussion is good. It's healthy. It's allowing different perspectives, people to see different views, get different opinions. And we're actually coming together now where we're actually seeing what are some of the issues that we're having and then what are some of the possible solutions.
The Tobago Society of Young Professionals was recognized at the consultation as the one who initiated contact with the Ministry of Planning after news of the first consultation that was held last year in Trinidad was published. President of the group, Kennethia Douglas, said they wrote the Permanent Secretary requesting a Tobago leg of the consultation, which eventually took place on Tuesday at the Mount Irving Bay Hotel, in collaboration with the Tobago House of Assembly and the United Nations. Reporting from Tobago, Natoya Johnson, News 4.
Still in Tobago, the Tobago leg of the United Nations bottom-up approach to achieving post-2015 development goals took place recently under the theme, The Tobago We Want. It was held in collaboration with the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development and the Tobago House of Assembly, with a view to having more civil society organizations involved in 8 key discussion areas, including youth, aging, alternative energy, poverty eradication, and environmental preservation. Here's more in this report.
UN Food and Agriculture Representative Barton Clark stated in an introduction to the stakeholders at the Tobago leg of the Consultation for National Development Goals that their discussion should focus on the future the residents want to see and the ways the United Nations can assist them in achieving it.
There is going to be a process of discourse today, facilitated by both persons from the United Nations system as well as the THA, to get people to speak about the issues, to identify possible solutions, to look at strategies going forward, to concentrate and to focus on implementation. When the exercise is finished and synthesized, it is going to be integrated into what came out of the consultation that took place in Trinidad.
Representative from the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, Peter Mitchell, noted that the government has been working to strengthen the national economy through various means, including making a better use of the country's human resource.
The Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development has always been championing the whole question of harnessing your creativity and imagination as part of the sustainable development agenda, because you can think your way out of a problem. They always tell you necessity is the mother of all inventions. If we need something that is important, we will think our way out of it.
At the consultation, the Tobago House of Assembly identified 8 priority areas in its own comprehensive economic development plan for 2013 to 2017 that includes branding Tobago as clean, green, safe and serene, developing entrepreneurship, good governance together with institutional reform, and environmental sustainability. Keynote speaker, THA Chief Secretary Orville London, said that the discussions on these topics, among others, will play an important part in how the island is governed.
But most importantly, I hope that the conversation will continue outside of this room and beyond this place, so that in the final analysis, we can have a situation where the action or the actions taken will be actions that will benefit Tobago, will be actions that will allow Tobago to come closer towards the achievement of the Millennium Goals, but also to come closer to meeting the objectives of the CDP, and of course involve Tobagonians in a meaningful way in their own development.
Consultant with the UN Development Programme and a facilitator for the Tobago Consultation for the UN Nations, Dr. James Armstrong, said that the information gathered will feed into a national draft document prepared by the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development. He noted that the discussions would help broaden the discussions at the national level.
Right now, what we're trying to do really is to get as much information as possible to feed into the documentation, the national level documentation for 2015 and beyond. And there are a number of thematic areas that were identified by the THA this morning of relevance, particular relevance to the peculiarities of Tobago. The groups are actually discussing that. I think that significant progress is being made with respect to that, so that we should be able to get enough information to feed into that documentation.
The National Document on Development Goals for 2015 onwards will be part of a regional presentation for the International Conference for Small Island Developing States, hosted by the United Nations in Samoa in September later this year. Reporting from Tobago, Natoya Johnson, News 4.
Thank you very much, Natoya. News 4 continues right after the break. Stay with us. Trinidad and Tobago's senior national men and women's volleyball teams are both on the verge of qualifying for the World Volleyball Championship. On the brink of their international success, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Volleyball Association, Damian Stewart, believes this year could be the breakthrough year for the sport in Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago's senior national men and women's volleyball teams are just a few games away from qualifying for a spot at the 2014 World Volleyball Championships. With a win over Cuba set to be their biggest problem, high hopes are being placed on the national senior women's team for a spot at the championship. The men's team may have a more tumultuous route, but they too are expected to make the country proud and move on to the world stage. However, President of the Volleyball Association, Damian Stewart, says given the rapid development of the women's team over the years, more is expected of them.
Both our teams are trying to qualify for the World Championship. The women had a very successful run since 2004. They are undefeated in the Caribbean, and their world ranking continued to rise. They were ranked 99 in the world in 2007, and they're now 31st. So we believe that they have a real chance of qualifying. They won their first 2 rounds, and this is the third and final round where the winner qualifies to the World Championship in Italy in September. The woman has 5 professional players in the squad, so they got a lot of experience over the last few seasons. And so Trinidad and Tobago women team is definitely at its strongest. The men, they have a difficult task ahead. They are teamed with 4 countries, Panama and Costa Rica, of which they have a winning record. Never beat Canada, and we play in Canada at home in Toronto. So the men's mission is to place second in the group and advance to the playoff, of which we will have a major challenge from Dominican Republic and Mexico, but teams that we are more competitive with, and we have a chance of qualifying also.
The volleyball official says the popularity of the sport is growing not only with children, but more so with females, something he believes will benefit women in Trinidad and Tobago.
Our mission is to establish ourselves as the premier team sport for women in Trinidad and Tobago. If you look around, we provide opportunities for athletes to get scholarships. We have 10 to 20 athletes every year going on scholarships in the US. We have 13 athletes on scholarship in Trinidad at UTT. We have 5 athletes that earn a living from volleyball playing professional. So there's a pathway for young girls playing volleyball.
Stewart, a former national player himself, says success at the world stage is crucial as it will benefit not only the players but also the country and its sporting development. He adds, however, that corporate sponsorship is necessary to aid in achieving that success.
And if you play volleyball or you go to look at a game, you will see the excitement created. And I think everyone could play. And we are one that is pushing for women at the highest level. Because any of the other spectator sports you look now, except for netball sometimes, is really men. You know, football, cricket at the highest level. And we are placing women at that level. And we want to be that option. Right? We encourage the sponsors to get involved. Volleyball has a reputation of being a clean sport, and has always been. And we encourage Trinidad and Tobago to support the national team and support our progression and the sport on a whole.
The Volleyball Association president is calling on not just corporate sponsors, but the entire nation to support both teams. He says the teams are an example of dedication, hard work, and success in the face of adversity.
But we have a bunch of girls and guys for the last 10 years have been sacrificing 6 days a week to do this. And they reach at that point to make a mark. And they just want Trinidad and Tobago to take a serious look at them, because they're going out there to fly the flag red, white, and black. We're in a period where there's a lot of negativity. There's an opportunity to inject some positive thing again into Trinidad and Tobago and to show that young people are doing positive things, and there are avenues for young people to do positive things. For example, in the men, the captain, the coach, and a couple of the other players are from the Morville Laventille district. You know, so they took this sport as a different pathway to do positive things. They are now upstanding citizens in the community. One is a police officer, one is a paramedic. And from a young age, they adopt sport. So sport could be a pathway to solving some of the problems that we have as a society.
The women's team will face Cuba, Curacao, and Haiti between May 12th to 18th, while the men's team will face Canada, Costa Rica, and Panama between May 14th to 20th as the both teams look to book their spot in the World Championships. Gregory McBurney, News 4 Sports.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after this. As the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission continues to work in support of the government's thrust to improve the quality of lives, residents of Freeport were encouraged to make full use of all the opportunities provided as a result of an illumination upgrade at the St. Mary's Recreation Ground, Southgate Road, Freeport.
The installation of lights at the St. Mary's Recreation Ground is proof that TNTech continues to impact the lives of Trinbagonians in a positive and tangible way, says Mrs. Sushila Ramkisoon-Mak, chairman of TNTech.
Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission is a large and dynamic organization. Indeed, TNTech's activities affect all facets of the everyday goings-on in Trinidad and Tobago. From enabling our petroleum sector to facilitating your access to Facebook, TNTech powers the country. As a result of this, we are very keen to ensure that we deliver efficient and reliable service as we interact with our stakeholders at all levels.
She says the upgrade of the St. Mary's Recreation Ground is a good example of the various levels of interaction TNTech engage in as they carry out its duties.
The initial idea for the upgrade came to fruition at the ministerial level as your Member of Parliament made a request to the Minister of Public Utilities, the Honourable Nizam Bash. Minister Bash, who is also TNTech's line minister, then instructed the Commission to execute the upgrade of the St. Mary's Recreation Ground, the full effect of which we will see shortly.
The execution of the ground upgrade involved interaction between TNTech and the community as well. This as the installation of the lights that constitutes the upgrade was done collaboratively. Mr. Keith Robert, president of the St. Mary's Village Council, commended this initiative. He says the Commission has demonstrated its ongoing commitment to supporting government's thrust to improve the quality of life of all citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
To us it means a lot because in the past we have some good sportsmen coming out from this area. Right now, presently, we have a number of young people on the national youth team.
MP for Couva South, the Honourable Rudranath Indar Singh says the upgrade of the St. Mary's Recreation Ground for use at night will serve to increase the use of the grounds and increase levels of physical activities these grounds serve.
We are surely on the way to ensuring that before 2015, there will be no darkness on the recreation grounds throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, it is indicative of the government's commitment.
Delivering the feature address, Minister of Public Utilities Nizam Bash says the illumination is in keeping with government's drive to encourage healthier citizens, not only in Freeport, but across the country.
The sight of an illuminated recreation ground is a beauty to behold, especially when you are passing by and you see a game of cricket or football in progress, especially as it begins to turn dark, like now. And this sight is becoming a more and more common these days all around the country.
The minister says with the increase of these events, they foresee a consummate increase in opportunities for small micro-enterprises such as food, vendors, handicraft vendors, and sports.
It is a remarkable vehicle for social cohesion, for building camaraderie and promoting caring and unity among neighborhoods.
Teamwork played a great role in the achievements celebrated at the official lighting ceremony. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. Now, remember, you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/RTV4. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining.